Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. This show is a production of our nonprofit organization, the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, or THCF, and its affiliated political committee, the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp, the CRRH. We support a lot of other efforts out there as well. We have an interesting show for you tonight. Former police detective Don Dupay and I will be taking your phone calls. We have Tim Pate as our traveling troubadour of cannabis. He'll be here playing music and entertaining us. We will have some video clips, including a clip from 1942's Hemp for Victory, a USDA, Department of Agriculture film that highlighted growing hemp for the war effort during World War II. And some other exciting events. So stand by. We'll be back with some hemp news in just a moment as well. But as we always do, we're going to buy a few minutes or at least a few seconds by showing you these infamous dancing cannabis leaves. All right, tonight's first story comes from New Hampshire, from the Portsmouth Herald in Concord, New Hampshire. Under a bill proposed in the New Hampshire state legislature, using and selling marijuana would be legal, and it's being debated by New Hampshire state legislators. The bill's sponsor, Representative Charles Weed of Keene, New Hampshire, told colleagues Wednesday that legalizing marijuana would give police more resources to tackle violent crime. He also said that existing laws governing marijuana are too harsh and lead to users being jailed with people who use or sell much more dangerous drugs, such as cocaine and heroin. Representative Weed, a Democrat, told the House Criminal Justice Public and Safety Committee, quote, "If people are convicted for soft drug use, they're in a problem for the rest of their lives," end quote. The bill is co-sponsored by two Republicans, Representative Steve Vaillancourt of Manchester, New Hampshire, and Representative Paul Ingebretson of Pike. Weed and Ingebretson also are sponsoring bills to legalize medical marijuana use and allow farmers to grow industrial hemp, which is not a drug. Vaillancourt called marijuana possession a victimless crime and said the drug is less harmful than legal substances such as alcohol and tobacco. However, even some advocates say the bill goes too far. Matt Simon, a spokesman for the Coalition for Common Sense Marijuana Policy, said it should be amended, although the group is collecting signatures in support of the bill. He said, quote, "The way it is now, you could grow a field of marijuana and drive it across into Massachusetts. This is a place to start the discussion of what the best way is to change the policies," end quote. Similar proposals have failed before in New Hampshire. The Attorney General's office and state health officials opposed the bill along with the group representing police chiefs and county sheriffs. There's a real surprise there. This story was from the Portsmouth Herald there in New Hampshire and was published today, January 19, 2007. Next story is from the Seattle Times, written by Maureen O'Hagan, who I've met, and Diane Brooks from Seattle, Washington. A drug task force raided the homes of Steve Sarich and John Worthington last week. The two men loudly proclaimed it was in retaliation for their support of medical marijuana. Sarich, who's appeared on this show, Cannabis Common Sense, says it was a political assassination. Sarich runs an advocacy organization called Cannacare. Some people say the two men are misplacing blame, especially considering the size of Sarich's garden, which at one point filled almost a full floor of his Northeast Everett home. But a close look at court documents suggests that in some ways their activism did lead law enforcement straight to their doors. According to the court documents, a multi-agency drug task force found and confiscated more than 1,500 marijuana plants in Sarich's home, and a handful in Worthington's, just 6 plants in Worthington's home. Neither man had been arrested or charged. Sarich and Worthington came to the attention of the task force last year when they filed declarations in support of another man facing federal marijuana distribution charges, according to the court documents relating to the last week's raid. The prosecutor on the case asked Bremerton Police Detective Roy Alloway, who serves on the drug task force, who they were. Alloway soon learned that Worthington of Renton had a habit of sending emails to law enforcement and government officials complaining about what he saw as the unfair targeting of medical marijuana patients. Based on that, Alloway wrote in the court papers, "I decided to investigate these individuals." The detective obtained utility bill records showing that Sarich was using about 5 times more electricity than the average area resident. Court documents state. Also, a marijuana odor could be detected outside his home, according to the court documents. That was enough to get a judge to sign a warrant to search Sarich's home. The search warrant application for Worthington's home, which was made over the telephone rather than on paper, was not immediately available when the Seattle Times wrote this story. Sarich said his marijuana nursery is all for Cannacare members, each of whom has a doctor's authorization to use cannabis for medical reasons. Under Worthington's medical marijuana law passed, or actually under Washington's medical marijuana law passed by voters in 1998, a patient is permitted to designate a caregiver to grow cannabis for him or her, but a patient may not have more than a 60-day supply. Sarich said the number of plants shouldn't be the focus. Many of them were tiny and hadn't produced a usable crop. Worthington, on the other hand, had 6 plants. He has his doctor's authorization to use marijuana to ease chronic pain caused by degenerative bone disease. Police normally target what they call mid to upper level distributors, and 6 marijuana plants don't qualify, usually, according to Rodriguez. Worthington, who used to belong to Cannacare but said he parted ways with Sarich last spring, has repeatedly complained to a number of officials about the activities of the task force, especially the actions of Alloway. Sarich said he and Worthington recently delivered to the state legislature a report summarizing their year-long investigation into the practices of drug forces across Washington state, which they said routinely violate Washington law. The ACLU of Washington is involved in medicinal marijuana issues, and they're concerned because agents also seized medical records of about 200 patients from Sarich's house. According to Washington ACLU spokesman Doug Honig, he says, quote, "We're looking into what can be done to protect them," end quote. Meanwhile, the U.S. Attorney's Office is deciding whether the case should be handled by state or federal authorities. That's the end of that story from the Washington State Seattle Times. Our next story is from Los Angeles. Federal law enforcement agents raided 11 medicinal marijuana dispensaries in Los Angeles County yesterday in one of the most high-profile actions taken by the Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, in California since the state's passage of Proposition 215 for medical marijuana in 1996. According to the Los Angeles Times, federal agents simultaneously raided 5 dispensaries in West Hollywood, as well as additional medicinal cannabis operations in Venice, Hollywood, Sherman Oaks, Woodland Village, and other communities. Government officials told the Times there have been more than 20 people who have been detained for questioning, but charges had yet to be filed. Spokespersons for the DEA said that hundreds of marijuana plants and several thousand pounds of cannabis were seized in the raids. So we'll just have to see what comes of that in the coming weeks. Our next story is from Krakow in Poland. Endocannabinoids, are naturally occurring cannabis-like compounds in the body, reduce gastric ulcers, according to a new study. Administration of the naturally occurring cannabinoid anandamide inhibits the development of stress-induced gastric ulcers, according to preclinical trial data published recently in the Journal of Psychology and Physiology and Pharmacology. Investigators at Poland's Jagiellonian University Medical College and Germany's University of Erlangen-Nuremberg reported that the administration of anandamide significantly reduced ulcers in rats in a dose-dependent manner. Researchers also noted that anandamide administration was associated with an increase in gastric mucosal blood flow. Gastric blood flow plays a primary role in protecting and healing the stomach lining. Administration of synthetic cannabinoid receptor antagonists aggravated gastric damage and reversed the protective effect of anandamide, investigators determined. The investigators reported contrary results following the administration of anandamide in rats with acute pancreatitis, finding that endocannabinoids increased the severity of the disease. Anandamide did not alter the morphology of pancreatic tissue or increase pro-inflammatory serum levels in rats without the disease. Previous preclinical research indicates that the endocannabinoid system may be an ideal therapeutic target for the treatment of various gastrointestinal or GI disorders such as irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's disease, and colitis. Activation of this system suppresses gastrointestinal motility, reduces acid reflux, and protects against inflammation in animals, and has been demonstrated to promote healing in human tissue. Most recently, investigators at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota reported that single doses of THC significantly reduced stomach cramping in humans compared to a placebo. The full text of this study, Cannabinoids in Acute Gastric Damage and Pancreatitis, appears in the November supplement of the issue of Journal of Physiology and Pharmacology. That's the end of our stories for Hemp News tonight. We'll be back in just a moment. Take your phone calls, and we're going to play a little film clip here and have some music from Mr. Tim Pate. Are you ready to play, Tim?
I'm ready to play.
All right. Well, hit it, bro.
Hello, don't I know you from some other space and time? Or is it just my imagination? Well, hello. Fancy, fancy, fancy. Hello, 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 don't I know you from some other space and time? Or is it just my imagination? Oh well, oh my imagination, oh well.
All right.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Tim Pate. How are you doing tonight, Tim?
I'm doing really well. It was a good week. It's the beginning of another year, and we've got a lot of plans in motion, and things are happening. And it's it's like each year we have more victories behind us.
Yeah,
and
we build on the triumphs of the year before, so to speak.
That's it. And so we're going to have another victorious year ahead of us, it seems.
I think you're right. Well, I want to thank you all for watching Cannabis Common Sense. How are you doing, Don?
I'm doing good, Paul.
We're here live on January 19th, Friday night, January 19th in Portland, Oregon. And if you want to call and ask Don, I, or even Tim over here any questions about ending adult marijuana prohibition, helping medical marijuana patients, or restoring industrial hemp, then you should call us at the number there on your screen. It's 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448.
I wanted to ask the viewers tonight to go to your medicine cabinet and get out some of those medicine bottles and put them in front of you while you're watching TV, because that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So get those bottles out. We're going to look at the warning labels.
The warning labels. I brought a number of tins here tonight. These are tins that the federal government ships medical marijuana to patients in. According to this, there are 300 marijuana cigarettes, each one weighing about a gram in this, and that it was harvested in April of 1999, apparently distributed in 2004. That's 5 years after harvest. This one was distributed in 2002 and is also harvested in April of 1999. Now, these two cans are both LV Masica's medical marijuana supply, where here we have one from Irv Rosenfeld, a fellow back in Ohio and Florida who's also a stockbroker. We have his bill, but we'll talk a little bit more about these in a minute. But we do have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Yes, I'd like to know how can I get you guys' address, because my back, I got arthritis in my back, and I guess I got an old injury.
And so you think you qualify for medical marijuana, is that right?
Yes, I think so, because I got lifetime
Chronic
medical.
pain does qualify, and most people with degenerative disc disease in their back can get a medical marijuana permit. So are you looking for a doctor who can help you?
Yes.
I see. So we have a number of doctors who help patients, not just here in Portland, but also in Seattle, in Denver, and Honolulu. In fact, throughout Oregon, Washington, California, Colorado, and Hawaii. And if you're in the Portland area, you need to just call this number. It's a referral service. It can help hook you up with one of those doctors. It's 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. For people up in the Seattle area, phone number up there is 206-878-1701. That's 206-878-1701. For people who are in Denver watching this show, then you can call us at 303-403-9996. That's 303-403-9996. If you're outside of those metropolitan areas, but you're within the states of Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, Colorado, or California, then call our toll-free number, and that is 1-800-723-0188. Again, 1-800-723-0188. There. Did you get some of those?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Glad to help. That's one of the things we do, is we help patients who can't find another doctor to help them qualify get a medical marijuana permit.
There are so many of us, too.
That's true. I know the program in in Oregon right now has over 12,000 card holders, and about 2,000 at any given time are waiting for their cards. And so there you have about 14,000 people who are legal. That doesn't count their caregivers, and there's another 6,000 or so caregivers. So roughly about 20,000 people in Oregon can legally possess, use, and grow medical marijuana, much like this outdoor organic flower that was a produce from last October. Still pretty good. But waiting till 1999, that's where your potency, I think they say 10% a year. You lose 10% potency a year. So this says right on the can here, maybe I'll get some cameras to close in a little bit later, but it says right on the can that it was manufactured in April 1999, but on the distribution label to LV Masica, it says that She received it in March of 2004
They're really old.
from Bascom Palmer Eye Institute in Miami, Florida, in the Ann Bates Leach Eye Hospital. And she's told Elvie Masica, Dr. Pomberg is the doctor who helps her with this there, says use 12 cigarettes daily. So that's quite a bit. 12 big joints, you know. They both of these have a smell of like the old Mexican kind of Colombian. Can you smell that in there?
I can.
Yeah, there's still residue of some of the aroma. Just kind of sticks around after a while. Little chunks and stuff in there. These are three of these. These go for quite a bit. I got them a few years back when they were cheaper, but sometimes I'm told that these are selling for upwards of $1,200 each on eBay.
If they're overgrowing? If they're saving it for 5 years, they must have a lot left over.
They must
somewhere.
have quite a bit there. At the Research Triangle Institute, that's what it says. It's the Research Triangle Institute that produces that.
I wonder how much they got stashed.
I don't know. We do have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on our show.
Yeah, I was wondering, I'd heard at one time that marijuana, when you grew it, that it was twice the biomass per acre of any other plant. Do you know if that's true?
Yeah, that is true. In fact, I've seen cannabis growing in fields in Europe, in Switzerland, and in China, and typically it's about twice the height of corn. It grows really, really tall. Corn being the second highest crop you generally see in regular agricultural use. Hemp generally goes about twice as tall. In fact, according to a study issued by the United States Department of Agriculture called Hemp Herds as a Paper-Making Material, hemp produces 4 times more fiber for paper than the most productive tree species when that report came out.
That sounds like we're pretty crazy as far as CO2 production or using traditional fuels.
Yeah.
It's a neutral, I've heard, on CO2. It creates as much CO2 when it burns as it uses when it grows.
Yeah, if not as much, maybe a little bit less, actually. It probably takes a little more CO2 out than it would use in burning the seed oil anyway. For biofuel.
Almost an instant cure for global warming problem.
It really is. It really is. And not to mention global hunger. I mean, if we could replace all the petrochemicals with industrial hemp, instead of giving all the money to a few small corporations and a few select families and emperors, it would be in the hands of farmers around the world. And, you know, if you spilt this stuff, it would make people healthy. If they spill petroleum, it kills thousands of creatures wherever it's spilled. It's very toxic.
Well, I'm sure it's illegal because it competes with so many other industries.
Well, I really think that's why it was prohibited, was to protect the petrochemical industries from competition. When they realized new technology would make industrial hemp less expensive at the turn of the century, they came up with this misinformation campaign we know as Reefer Madness, and gave it a new name and didn't call it hemp anymore, which everyone knew what that was, but instead said there was a deadly new drug called marijuana. Well, here's a canister from 1880 or so, 1870, with fluid extract of cannabis indica, and it was used for a lot of different things in pharmacology back before it was prohibited as well.
Well, we can thank William Randolph Hearst for that.
Yeah, for sure.
And Andrew Mellon,
George Weyerhaeuser, huh?
the petrochemical guys.
John D. Rockefeller.
Yep.
Paper guys, and cotton guys, and tobacco guys, and the banks because they like keeping the farmers in their pockets.
And the prohibition agents looking for a new job, like Harry Anslinger, who worked for the Department of Prohibition and then moved into the Department of Narcotics and was the head of it from 1933 until 1961. And he, in fact, pushed through a number of international treaties to make cannabis illegal. And his uncle was Andrew Mellon, the oil tycoon. But he is considered the father of marijuana prohibition. and that's Harry Anslinger.
Well, you're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Bureau of Narcotics changed its name in '73 to the Drug Enforcement Administration with the passage of the new Controlled Substances Act then. Thanks for your call.
Yeah.
Have a good night. If you have a question for us out there, give us a call at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We'll be taking your calls right up to the top of the hour.
When Prohibition ended, they had all of these people that used to point machine guns at alcohol guys, and now they didn't have anybody to point machine guns at, so they needed a war on drugs. And along came Anslinger and helped them out.
Right.
Got
They
them
said
all
they had a
employed.
deadly new drug called marijuana, and no one knew what that was. But they used a name like marijuana to play on racist.
A lot of Mexicans use marijuana.
That was the
bad
idea
thing.
there, and you didn't want them around you, according to the Jim Crow laws and the prohibitionists and the racist diatribe of the day. But if you're out there and you have a question for us about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, or helping medical marijuana patients, then call us at 503-288-4448. So, back again, I think, to this thing. It's from the Research Triangle Institute. That's in North Carolina. It doesn't say exactly what city in North Carolina, but it says that these are marijuana cigarettes with 3.5% THC. And the expiry date is unknown. The DEA schedule is C1, controlled substance number 1. Here's one of the labels there.
An indefinite shelf life.
Yeah, this one was from Irv Rosenfeld in Ohio. Got it through an eBay auction that benefited Southern Missouri Normal. And so that went there, and that's where most of these come from. Here's the other one. This is one from Elvie Masica, who originally was from Florida, but now lives down in Eugene. And quite a colorful character. She's been on the show a number of times. And here's another one. But they're all produced in April of 1999. Irv Rosenfeld's doesn't seem to have any identifying dating material on it, but Elvie's shows that it had been received in 2004 and that the marijuana was manufactured in 1999. 5 years. So it would, if it degrades 10% a year, this is about 50% strength after 5 years. We do have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
I'm calling. This one's for Don.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Don, I was really totally disappointed when Juice knocked you out of the box.
You mean Sheriff Porno Pants? That's what the Willamette Week is calling him. He's been sworn in for 4 more years.
Porno
Yes.
pants. The
That's
Willamette
what
Week's
Willamette
calling?
call him, Porno Pants.
Well, you were a dope-smoking grandfather
Yes,
when
I
you
was,
ran.
yeah, pot-smoking grandpa. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's a real travesty. I'm telling you, because here's a guy that is supposedly upholding the law, and to me, it appears like he's not upholding the law, and he does whatever he wants to do.
You're pretty much right. He's a pretty powerful man, and he uses his power. The sheriff is a very powerful individual politically and with the amount of money that they have. So it's a very powerful individual, and he has already set his record, and I ran against him on my record, and that's history, but he's not going to change. You got 4 more years of Porno Pants.
I just want to remind our viewers out there who might not know, especially if they're outside of the Portland area, that Don here ran for Multnomah County Sheriff, the county that Portland, Oregon is in, and he came in second. You got what, 30?
I got 30,521 votes.
And that was what,
28% of the voters in Multnomah County.
A little bit more than 28%, right?
And my wife and I both voted for you.
Thank you.
I did too, of course. So I think that surprised him because you only spent $400 in the campaign, right?
Yeah, about $450.
$450. Well, that's close enough for me.
Well, I've got a
Just think if
new.
you'd spent another $500, maybe you would have won. You know, damn.
I've got a new sweatshirt now that speaks to George Bush,
What does your sweatshirt say?
and it said, "George lied, and thousands died."
Yeah.
And then it's got an impeachment site to go to.
Yeah,
I see.
That's a bumper sticker I'm in favor of.
All right. Well, thanks for your call and your questions.
Hey, you bet.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
I just like to put things in context for those
Yeah.
viewers outside the area who don't know about local Portland politics and whatnot, that you came in second. And by far, no one came close. What did the incumbent get? 60%?
He got 68%, and there was a write-in candidate who wasn't actually qualified to take office. He got 10,000 votes.
You got 10,000.
So the context of it was there was a lot of dissatisfaction with the present sheriff.
We have a film clip now. This is a real classic out there. It's from 1942 from the United States Department of Agriculture. It's the last couple of minutes of Hemp for Victory.
Rope for marine rigging and towing, for hay forks, derricks, and heavy-duty tackle. Light-duty fire hose. Thread for shoes for millions of American soldiers. And parachute webbing for our paratroopers. As for the United States Navy, every battleship requires 34,000 feet of rope, and other craft accordingly. So here in the Boston Navy Yard, where cables for frigates were made long ago, crews are now working night and day making cordage for the fleet. In the old days, rope yarn was spun by hand. Today, even the rope walk is mechanized. 160 fathoms to go. The rope yarn feeds through holes in an iron plate. This is Manila hemp from the Navy's rapidly dwindling reserve. When that is gone, American hemp will go on duty again. Hemp for mooring ships. Hemp for tow lines. Hemp for tackle and gear. Hemp for countless naval uses, both on ship and shore. Just as in the days when old Ironside sailed the seas victorious, with her hempen shrouds and hempen sails. Hemp for victory.
All right, Hemp for Victory. I love that film. That's just the last couple minutes of the 1942 classic. So it talks about a few of the many things that hemp can do. We have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello, my name is Suzanne.
Hi, Suzanne.
And I'm on disability.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me. And I'd like to know if there's any place that can help me with my fees.
Yeah, there are.
Cool.
There are a few.
Excuse me.
You know, all I can say is see that number there?
My daughter's on another TV and another.
All right, well, I'll read it off, and you can write it down. It's 503-235-4606. It's a number we often play. It's our physician referral line as well. It's 503-235-4606.
Thank you very much. You
You're
have
welcome.
a nice day then.
You too.
Thank you.
Now, can you just imagine? This has 300 cigarettes in it. Can you imagine getting 300 marijuana cigarettes in the mail? How would that be? That would be kind of nice, wouldn't it?
Well,
you
it
know,
would be nice,
just
yeah.
put in an order. I'd like some train wreck. I'd like a package of 300. I don't really smoke anymore. I'd rather have it in bulk pack. Just like the buds themselves for my vaporizer. But this would have been quite the thing. I think that would. Too bad we don't have a program where patients can just call up and have these. These are shipped through the mail.
Isn't that wonderful?
Through the USPS. I think I'm not sure how it's done today, but these were shipped directly to the doctor who had gone through the process to help the patient qualify for the compassionate use program. That program was discontinued back in 1991 by George Bush the First, number 41, not our George Bush Jr., number 43, but back by old 41. He ended, with all that Eli Lilly trust fund money that he and his son live off of, he ended the compassionate use program. And at that point, there were about 27 people who got to get these packages in the mail. Since then, a bunch of them have died, and now it's down to about 7 people left here in 2007, 16 years after that. And Elmi Masika brought us these two, and this one's Irv Rosenfeld, 2 of the 7 people who receive it medicinally today.
I can't help but thinking they're overgrowing, though. Where's the rest of this stuff?
Well, they grow it at a farm in Oxford, Mississippi, under license from the DEA.
And when all these people die, what are they going to do with all that old weed?
I don't know. It won't be too good, though, if it degenerates to the point of 10% a year, which is what they say it does. I mean, after 10 years, it's basically worthless. If you're out there and you have a question for us tonight, you're watching Friday, January 19th, then call us at 503-288-4448. We do have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Very well. How are you?
Good, thanks. I just I've been a patient for about 5 years now.
Uh-huh.
And some of the things I've learned in the growing process.
There's a real learning curve involved in that, isn't there?
Very much so.
You've got to, once you've been hit by the pests and the mold and all of that, only then can you call yourself a veteran grower.
Yes, and the spider webs from the mites.
Oh, yeah, those nasty spider mites. They're insidious.
But something I've learned, and I don't know what the reflectivity value is, tinfoil as opposed to mylar, but I know the flammability of mylar is, it's like burning plastic.
Right, yeah, who wants to breathe that?
And
tinfoil doesn't burn, does it?
It doesn't burn.
Right.
That's one thing I've learned. Another thing is taking the plants into my shower and washing them off occasionally. It gets rid of the old insecticides. It gets rid of some of the pests.
Yeah, exactly.
And doing that occasionally really helps.
Uh-huh.
And those are...
Spider mites hate that, too. They hate moisture and humidity. They like it warm and dry.
Yes. So, and spider mites are the enemy.
That's true.
They're a big pest. And I want to thank you guys for your efforts.
We're glad to do it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Thanks for that recommendation for those medicinal gardeners out there. You have an editorial for us this week, Don?
I do, Paul. This is a request from a while back. One of our patients said that he wanted to hear this one again, so get your prescription bottles and let's look. With more and more people using marijuana as medicine, we just talked about 14,000 or so here in Oregon alone, way over 100,000 in California. The establishment employers worry about employees being high on the job. Can't have these people using equipment and machinery, they say. We'd be in danger from them. So my question for now is, just what is under the influence? I can only draw from my personal experience, but it is considerable, as I've been using marijuana for 30-some years. I think marijuana in and of itself, that if it degrades one's abilities at all, it's statistically insignificant. Marijuana, if it has a problem besides the government, is that it is an enhancer. It makes things taste better, feel better, act stronger. Folks that watch this TV show tell us all the time that if they're using prescription painkillers and they add marijuana to the mix, it will allow them to use less of the pharmaceuticals altogether. And of course, that's why the pharmaceutical companies hate us. If you're having sex, quite frankly, marijuana makes it better. If you're using alcohol, marijuana makes it stronger. It increases the intoxicating effect. Right up front, now I'm going to say that marijuana is not a good fit for everyone. Some people get too nervous, too paranoid, or get uncomfortable. If it bothers you, don't use it. That's my disclaimer. It's not for everyone. But purely guessing, I say that those few folks are few and far between. I only run into one person in my smoking career that got too nervous about using marijuana and couldn't smoke it. I use it as a medical necessity, but I'm aware of a study in Britain about folks using marijuana after driving, and they were found to be more careful drivers. I've always thought so because when I was a street cop here in Portland in the 60s, I never arrested anybody for driving under the influence of marijuana, and there were probably 500,000 people smoking marijuana on the West Coast in the 60s. Why didn't I arrest anybody for it? Well, mainly because it was essentially undetectable. I couldn't smell it. 10 years later, when I started smoking it to cut down on my alcohol consumption, because being a policeman is an impossible task, I received an epiphany. I offer this information also from my personal experience. In the last 30 years, I've been examined by various medical professionals, doctors in general practice, a cardiologist, an osteopath, and a psychiatrist for post-traumatic stress disorder. During routine medical exams, I was always asked, Mr. Dupé, do you smoke? I always said no, early on just to see if they could detect it. They never could. I was in the cardiologist's office one time after I had been smoking, and he hooked me up to an EKG machine. He couldn't tell it either on the EKG machine. Well, your eyes will give you away, people say. Oh, really? I've had my eyes examined for glasses several times, as well as by the medical doctor. I never heard one person say, Don, you've been smoking marijuana. I can see it in your eyes. So just what the hell is under the influence anyway? All my prescription pills for blood pressure and probably all your medications at home have warning stickers all over them, yellow and red, that say don't operate machinery, don't drive or mix with alcohol, they cause drowsiness. But you do it every day. In other words, you take your meds and you drive to work, you drive to Fred Meyer's, you go shopping. So just exactly what is under the influence? Well, what it is really is a misnomer. What they really mean is how does it degrade your ability, if at all? So your ability to work, your ability to drive, your ability to perform required tasks. In the case of cannabis by itself, I still think that it is statistically insignificant in judging performance. And to those concerned employers that always worry, I say, don't. Your marijuana users will continue to do the same good job they've always done, and as safely as they have always done it. And now the answer to the burning question I know is in your mind, did I smoke any marijuana before I came down here tonight to do this TV show? Well, I'm going to leave that to you to decide. And if you think I did, I will also leave it for you to decide if it degraded my abilities in any way. And that's the way I see it tonight, right down here on Hemp Street.
Thank you, Don. We do have a caller, a very patient caller who's been standing by. Hello, caller. You are on the show. Hello, telephone caller. Well, maybe they got tired of waiting.
They hung up.
We tried. Well, that's your opportunity. If you have a call for us out there tonight, call us at 503-288-4448. We got about 13, 14 minutes left to go here. So stay tuned. I'm still excited about the idea of, having this shipped to me in the mail.
Yes.
300 grams. I'd want to order like 300. What would you pay to have 300 grams of, say, train wreck shipped to you through the mail? I mean, wouldn't it be a glorious day when anybody can have that? I look forward to that day, and we're working toward that end, of course. So help us and get involved and come out of the closet and tell your friend it's time to legalize, tax, and regulate the sale of marijuana to adults. And we'll do our part, too. We have a caller. Hello, caller, here on the show.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hello.
sitting here dreaming.
Yeah, I was wondering. I just moved up from California to Oregon.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what I could do to help legalize the recreational use of marijuana for adults.
You know,
because I found it's a little more.
I'm glad you asked that question. You know, there's a meeting tomorrow that's open to the general public. It's Oregon Normal. They are having their once-a-month meeting. If you're here in the Portland area, you can mosey on down to It's a Beautiful Pizza, a really wonderful pizza parlor, the corner of 34th and Belmont. And there, Oregon Normal will have their general meeting. That's tomorrow, the 20th of January. If you're watching this live, if you're not watching it live, sorry, you'll have to hook up with them next month. But yeah, they have a once-a-month meeting. It's open to the general public, and you can get involved there. Also, we're organizing for potential petition campaigns in the future to end adult marijuana prohibition. So I urge you, if you want to get involved in that, call and leave a message at 503-235-4606. We've had some initiatives in the past, and though we're not sure at this point, there could well be some again in the future. I know there was a vote this year in Colorado and in Nevada to end adult marijuana prohibition. You got 42% in Colorado. You got 44% in Nevada. Maybe it's time for Oregon to vote this thing into law. Then we can start shipping these out all over the country with 300 grams of Oregon's organic Northern Lights in a nifty tin. We just have to end that prohibition. And boy, wouldn't our economy flourish?
Wouldn't it flourish?
How much do you think 300 grams should go for? I mean, currently, you know, that's that's like $1,500 or something on the black market, or maybe even twice that. If we could see it legal, I could see this going, I mean, $80, $90 for, you know, what would 300 grams be? That's going to be about 9 ounces. 9 ounces. Wow. Wouldn't that be great?
Good size. I had one more question. I just moved up from California, and I was wondering,
register to vote.
What do you think's a more liberal state for marijuana, California or Oregon? I mean, as far as the law.
Well, you know, Oregon was the first state to decriminalize it. California followed suit a year later. Both Oregon and California have had a vote, both of which were unsuccessful, to end adult marijuana prohibition. Both of them were a number of years ago. California's was in 74. Oregon's was in 86. They both have medical marijuana. California got it in 96. Oregon was 2 years later in 98. So I think, you know, it's hard to say which is farther ahead. I think there's a lot of similarity. Some people label this part of the country ecotopia. And so it runs all the way from Vancouver down to just before you get to LA. That's kind of out there. You know?
Right, yeah. Well, I hope to see you guys at the Normal tomorrow.
Okay, well, thanks for calling. We hope you come down there, too. I'm going to go down there, and I'm going to have at least one of these little tins in here. And if you want, you can smell it and see. It smells like Colombian, you know. Too bad we don't have smell-o-vision. We always regret that on this show.
Scratch and sniff.
All right, thanks for your call.
All right, take it easy, man.
You too. If you have a question for us out there, give us a call. We got about 10 minutes left or so. Now, this bottle from the 1880s or 70s, they have this glass over the label. It's called label under glass, or lug, which is a content. It's about 8-9 inches high. It's a neat little metal stopper. FE can indica, so it's a fluid extract of cannabis indica. Probably be a little bit of alcohol and a real tarry, kind of syrupy extract. Which would be really useful for pain and spasms and seizures when taken orally. Wouldn't be the thing to smoke. You wouldn't want to smoke that, that's for sure. We have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hey there.
Hey there.
You know, we've been, me and my wife have been watching your wonderful show ever since we moved up here to Oregon a few years ago.
We keep plugging away.
Yeah, and we keep voting away, so everyone takes their part.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we enjoy most is Don's awesome essays.
Yeah.
That he
Thank you for
writes.
saying so.
And we were wondering if he would ever consider collecting his essays and putting them in book form.
You know, that's a really great idea, you know. In fact, he's already done it. It's right here in Don Dupay's View from the Street, featuring the Hemp Street TV editorials and other insights. So, yeah, Don has that. And
Really?
it's a pretty nifty thing.
So,
the back cover says it all. If you're having sex, marijuana makes it better. That's what it says right there.
Amen to that, brother.
The DA ought to turn their guns on the real criminals, the robbing, addicting, and sickening pharmaceutical crooks. I think this government will not be happy until all the marijuana users are either unemployed or in prison. And I might add, are both.
So it's an actual, like readable book form?
Yeah, it's an actual readable book form. It's also on my website. If you check my website, everywhere,
we can pop up that CG here with Don's contact data.
Just about everything I do on TV is on that website. So.
Awesome. Well,
Feel
hey,
free
man,
to print it out.
more peace to y'all, and I think I'm going to go smoke a fat joint of White Rhino.
All right.
Peace out, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just don't drive anywhere. Be careful. You know, safety first. That's what I always say. That's why I like my vaporizer. You know, I used to cough and wheeze, and after 30 years of smoking, I was wheezing at night, coughing and stuff. But once I switched to my Volcano vaporizer, and it tastes so much better. You have a Volcano vaporizer now too, right?
No.
You don't have one? You
No, I
used
don't
to.
have a vaporizer.
You don't. You still smoke?
I still smoke. Yeah.
So you'd like to get 300 joints in the
I
mail.
would, yes.
That would be real useful.
I would. I'd
for
like
smoking. I would too. I could break them apart and put them in the vaporizer. We have another caller though. Hello, caller.
Hi.
You're on the air. Hi.
How you doing tonight?
Hello.
Very well.
Good. So I was listening to you guys, and you had mentioned that some people can't smoke, you know. So
yeah,
we've got the Volcano, and I know that was going for like $600.
Yeah, it's come down. There's one shop in town that's selling them now for $450 or $460 or something.
Okay. Well,
So
that's
it's coming
always good.
down. That's still a lot though, but your lungs are worth it.
Oh, definitely.
And you
I
wouldn't
got
believe
one,
how
and
much
I can
better
tell
it
a
tastes.
big difference. I
But
don't
you
have
can
that.
make a good vaporizer. One of our camera guys over here has a little vaporizer company, and you can make a good one with a heat gun.
Ooh.
You know, and a heat gun will work almost as well as a Volcano, and you can use that with any water pipe.
Yes, and it definitely gets rid of the wheezing and all that.
It does. It does.
Yes. Well, awesome. You guys are great, and we're going to keep doing this till it's all done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
We've all got to get in there and do it together, and we will. Wish we could all grow legal buds like this, and it makes it so cheap when you can grow them.
It does. Yeah.
Big bushes outdoors under the big grow lamp in the sky, the sun. That's how it's supposed to be, you know.
That's right.
These bulbs, they're expensive. They're expensive, and then you were burning energy to burn them when you just put it outside if it wasn't for the man. Too bad we got the laws, but we can change them, and we need your help to end adult marijuana prohibition. So I urge you, if you want to end adult marijuana prohibition, you want to restore industrial hemp, or you want to help medical marijuana patients, or you need a referral to a physician who can help you get a medical marijuana permit, then we have doctors in several states throughout the West who are waiting to help you or your friend or loved one, as long as they have a qualifying medical condition under their state law. So if you're in the Portland area and you want to get involved in any of those things, give us a call here at the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation and the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. If you're up in Seattle, the Seattle number 206-878-1701. It's 206-878-1701. If you're in Denver, the Denver number is 303-403-9996. It's an easy number to remember there. 303-403-9996. And if you're in Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, Colorado, and you need a doctor's help, or you want to get involved in ending adult marijuana prohibition, or any of these things, call us at our toll-free number. That's 1-800-723-0188. 1-800-723-0188.
Growing classes?
Yeah, in Portland we do have classes where we're helping medical patients. You have to have a medical card. Help get them trained. We're also starting to offer those in Denver and in Seattle. So if you're a patient, we have beginning classes and advanced classes, and they're really, really cheap.
Call the office and sign up.
Yeah, if you need that help. And there's a class on understanding. It's open to the general public, understanding the medical marijuana law in your state. So we do that and be happy to help you. We also have a free newspaper here in the Portland area. You can go out to your libraries and pick that up, or come by our office here in town. And wherever you're watching this, you can come by our office and pick up Hemp News to tell you the truth about marijuana. So we are clocking down here. I guess we don't have any other callers, so we should just remind our... Is there anything you want to say in closing, Don?
Well, it's on the internet.
It's on the internet. What's that website?
It's dondupay.typepad. Typepad is the hosting service. .typepad.com. Or you can just type my name into Google, and it'll pop up. You can find it.
What about you, Tim? Is there anything you want to say before going into song?
I'm just glad we made it through another good week, and I'm hoping for this next week to be even better.
Me too. I want to thank our viewers out there for tuning in, and urge you to tune in next week, or look at us on YouTube. We're back on YouTube and on the internet, soon to be back on our website. So thanks for watching. Tune in next week and help us restore hemp.
Good night, Ramona.
Good night. Okay, Don.